Hello, everyone. My name is Raymond Shen. Today, I'm going to share some of my opinions about George Floyd's case and later movement and protests uh, after his death. So, for the very beginning, Floyd went to a store to uh, buy some cigarettes, and then the employer of the store found out that Floyd, uh, the $20 bill that Floyd paid was fake, and tried to negotiate with Floyd to his vehicle, and noticed that he was in his vehicle, and they failed because. Uh, because he was awfully drunk. He was awfully drunk. So uh, uh, so they called the police, and the police has to come because their duty. It's their duty to come because someone has struck a blow and called the 911, called the police, and police came and let him down out of his vehicle and noticed that he was strong. He was strong. Um, he sh- from some people might think he didn't struggle, but he actually struggled a little bit uh, from the video, at least from my opinion. Not opinion, my perspective. He did struggle a little bit. Then he suddenly fell. He suddenly fell. He said he has claustrophobia. Had claustrophobia. Well, that doesn't make sense because he had his own vehicle and stayed that long, but he can't go to the police car for claustrophobia. That doesn't make sense. He has owned his vehicle, right? And then uh, so uh, the police took him out from the vehicle and noticed he was strong and drunk. Strong and drunk. The police had to take some actions to control him to avoid him escaping, right? Uh, so they take him down to the ground and the police nailed on him. And if you do some research, that uh, Chauvin actually worked with Floyd before. So he must have known that known Floyd well, maybe not very well, but uh, at least to some degree. Uh, he would kneel on him because he would think that Floyd would easily escape if he don't do some uh, doesn't do some extreme actions. So he put his nails on him. Special actions. He put his nails on him. So he did put his nails on him. Why that long? Because he knew him well. If he lose his nail back, he thought he would escape. That's why he put his nails for that long. And some people might think that is racial motivated. That's a racism crime. But why? If a black police did the same thing to a white person, would you still think that it's racial motivated? No, you wouldn't, right? So this is not racism crime. This is just excess use of police power. It's a police brutality crime, not a racism crime, right? And at that moment, Chauvin didn't know whether to do that was legal or illegal. He didn't know. So, mm, technically, that wasn't. Technically, he could do that, right? So, it's not racial motivated. What's the real racial racism crime is in the COVID-19 period. Still now, some people do to the race, some people to the age, do the things to the Asians, right? Including black people, the Asians that say the coronavirus is China virus, or said agents don't let Asians. I'm sorry, let Asians go back to their own countries. Don't spread the virus to them. Isn't that racism, right? That's the real racism. Okay. Okay. So wait a minute. So later they protested. Hold on. Yeah, they later protested. So the reason for the protesting is stop racism, but I don't think this is racism. Okay, the protesters might think so. Okay, you protest. You protest. You can protest, but you shouldn't violate others' rights while protesting. In the protests, the protesters first burned other properties, looted other stores, bullied the employees or employers, and um, laughed at laughed at them. And noticed most of the stores, their targets were not whites, not whites uh, ran restaurants or stores. There were Asian stores, Asian restaurants. What does this say? This says the protests themselves are racism, right? So, and later, the movement went too far, too far. It, so it then when there was uh, so then the government wanted uh, to have some aids, want to help the stores that been looted. There was a black senator. I don't say the name here, but he said Chinese restaurants didn't. What he said, the idea was the Chinese restaurants don't need aid because they don't hire black people. What's the logic there? There's no logic. Okay, that's another racism, right? Um, then, uh, and then June 9th, they even, uh, not, yeah, June 9th, in Houston, they protesters uh, settled a Memorial Day for Floyd, but Floyd was a felon. If you research him, you will find out he was a felon. He did many crimes, drugs, break other properties, hide fugitives, etc. He did many crimes. He's a felon. How on earth does a felon deserve a Memorial Day? That's hilarious, right? That's hilarious. And hmm, and uh, a professor in UCLA was suspended just because he didn't give special treatments, preferential grades to black people, black students. That's also ridiculous. Mm, yes, you can ask for equality. You cannot violating others' rights. You cannot uh, make yourself superior. You cannot hijack other people's minds, morality, right? That's literally you cannot get free lunches. That's the term. They're literally wanting free lunches, right? And then at Atlanta, there was a black person who was asleep in his car and uh, in a drive-through restaurant called Wendy. I think it was called Wendy, if I don't remember, if I remember correctly. Uh, then he blocked other's car after him, so he stopped there and was asleep. So he didn't get his food, so he blocked the cars after him. The people after uh, behind him called the police, and the police uh, and he tell, told the police that he was drunk driven, but he struggled not to be arrested when the police trying to arrest him, and even he took his the police electric torch and trying to attack the police, and the police shoot him. That was the police trying to protect themselves, but the protesters used this case. What the heck, right? The police was just trying to protect themselves, right? And they means the protesters in the Seattle, in Seattle, northwest of United States, established the autonomous region. What do they want? They no longer want equality. They want power, don't they? And they let the people live in Seattle to pay $10 to blacks if they live there, if they were non-black. Why should they? They literally don't have the responsibilities to do that. They don't have the obligations. Okay? They literally, I mean, the protesters literally wanted people to not to work and not to put effort, just take people's money and get free lunches, right? And ACA 5 Act in California here was surprisingly proved. That's ridiculous. That doesn't. That's access. You have to give a certain proportion to for college to admit blacks. So that doesn't make sense, because if you don't study hard, you don't deserve that seat. There are only so many seats there. If you give some portions to blacks, that will affect others' rights. While others try to work hard to get the degree, but now there are some blacks that don't do anything to easily get the seats. That's nonsense thing. That's immoral. That's literally free lunches for them. And if they get the schools, college position, the seat, after they graduate, they are disqualified, right? Because they didn't learn hard and no efforts were put, well, little, and they get some profession, some jobs. That professions were disqualified. How would you imagine that situation happens? So they're not ask for equality there. Then they ask for what? Power. People feeding them. That's ridiculous, right? Okay, so uh, and one more thing. In the protests, they're destroying history statues. That's not good, and not even not only in America. They're destroying other countries in Europe statues, history, historic um, mm, uh, mm, statues. That's not good. That's denying history. Yes, they might. Some of the statues might be um, slave owners sometime at some point, but statues are statues. They they represent history. That's not um, that's not the right thing to do for the protesters. Okay. And mm, yeah, that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching.